Hop. Hello and welcome to the VideoGamer UK podcast in a Gamescom week special. Brat isn't here this week, so I'm...
Wait!
He is here, Jim. He just refused to do the podcast this week.
Well,
he's got too much work on.
Oh, shut up.
He doesn't have time to do
Obviously,
jobs.
Jim, he's implying you don't do enough work.
It's probably true. Today I'm joined by Tom Ori.
Hello.
David Scammell.
How you doing?
And Brett Phipps.
Hello.
I don't have any silly names for you because I don't...
You mean
do
you
that.
haven't scripted all this like Brad does?
This is an unusual crew, though, isn't it, for the podcast?
It is a bit strange, isn't it?
I mean, you were gone for about a year, Tom.
Yeah.
Brett is on and off.
Brett is Brett.
And Jim, it's your first time hosting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yes, it's
gonna
probably
be fun.
going to be a car crash, but there we go.
There's a wire somewhere. Sorry, I think it's me. If you hear random things donking around, it's because I'm being a prick.
That's fine. People are used to it. It's okay.
Dave just hit himself in the nose with the microphone, just in case that was the last donk.
Everyone's still adjusting themselves. Well, Dave's still adjusting himself in his seat. So, but we've had 3 conferences, right? There's not been any more than that. So we've had Xbox, Sony, and EA. Xbox and Sony are obviously the main ones we're going to be talking about. So there's so much that's come out of them. I think I'm just going to go around the room and ask what it is that stood out for everyone. So, Dave, first of all, you're the news editor.
Yeah.
Any big moments? Any disappointments?
Bit of both. Yeah, a bit of both. So I think probably the biggest news is the whole Tomb Raider furore.
Yeah.
Dave, as the news editor, what is the final verdict on, is it exclusive to Xbox Day?
Well, I tell you what, yesterday, I don't know why, but some people on Twitter assumed that I worked for Square or Crystal Dynamics.
Why are you making Tomb Raider exclusive, Dave? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, fucking goddamn.
Goddamn.
Fuck you so hard.
Fuck you, toss a fuck.
You know what? I can now sort of empathise with community managers and stuff, and I can see why publishers back into working with consumers to shape the games, because Jesus, backlashes like that can't be pretty to work with every day. But no, I guess that's probably the biggest news story to come out. Essentially,
It's quite a coup, though, isn't it?
Well, it depends on whether it is totally exclusive.
It depends on
or not.
There's a lot of different viewpoints on the Tomb Raider thing, because it is undoubtedly a big franchise. Like, Tomb Raider's been around for years. It has a lot of hardcore fans.
Yeah.
The last one, even though they said they were a bit disappointed, it went on to sell 7 million copies or something. So it's a big deal, particularly as it's bound to be pretty good. Like, the game they're working from, the original one, the original reboot, was a good game. But I think the issues people have are, it was pretty much tied to Sony for a long time, so they feel hurt, I guess. And also, if from the Xbox side, they've spent God knows how much money getting this as an exclusive, presumably a lot of money, and that money is just giving Xbox owners a game they were going to get anyway, because Tomb Raider would have been released on the Xbox One, we assume, whether or not this deal had happened or not. So the argument is, could they have spent that money in a better way?
I think people are hurt because a lot of people have bought PS4s and they want to play Tomb Raider. That's the be all and end all, really, isn't it? I mean, people will just, if it was the other way around, if Sony had come out yesterday,
Especially as it was announced,
we got the exclusive on Tomb Raider, everyone would have been like, oh yeah, and got one back for Titanfall. That would have been the attitude.
But the way I saw it described as somebody has spent a lot of money to deny the game to people, which seems almost anti-consumer.
I think with Titanfall, it was different in a way, because
I don't see how
the story behind that is that apparently it wasn't going to get done unless Microsoft stepped in and gave them loads of money.
Of course it was. Whether an EA game.
Yeah, but whether or not that is the reality or not, that is the story that we have been told to an extent, is that Microsoft effectively funded it to get it made. And with this was presumably Square weren't going to go, oh no, we're not making this anymore unless one of the big first parties come in and fund it. So it does feel like they've just cut off half of their audience.
I don't really. The console exclusive has existed for forever. I just think that one of the issues here is that it's not a new IP, so it already has
and it was announced already as a presumably.
No, you see, I did some digging into this. It was never announced as on any formats. Yeah. It was just it's coming, and Microsoft announced it.
Yeah, but there was no mention of any exclusive stuff back then at all. They never.
There was a leak. Well, I guess it was a leak now, looking back on it. But Xbox.com, I remember seeing this. I can't remember the name, but one of the guys on Twitter highlighted this to me yesterday. When it was announced at E3, on Microsoft's website, it said exclusive to Xbox. And at the time, everyone just assumed, well, that's a mistake. and it was quickly removed from their website. I've got a screen grab somewhere, but I can't find it. So yeah, was this the plan all along? The messaging around it has been terrible. They're sticking to this. It's exclusive to Xbox Holiday 2015. What does that mean? No one knows. Square or Microsoft need to come out and clarify it, because at the moment, by dragging their heels and not saying anything, it's damaging the brand and it's damaging Microsoft, because people are just choosing to attack Microsoft because that's what it is. If they come out and say, oh, it's a 6-month exclusive, it's a year exclusive, however long it might be, I think Microsoft would be worried that, oh, it's less of a reason for people to buy an Xbox One. But at the same time, by not saying anything, people are just going, fuck you, Microsoft, and it's causing damage to everyone.
Surprised that Sony haven't said anything, though. If they know that it's timed, then they would have said something to say, look, even though they've got it, they've only got it for X amount of time.
It's just a weird situation, because like you read what Crystal Dynamics said, and I don't think they'd have done a massive blog post where they used the words walking away from PS4 and PC unless it was a total exclusive. And Square Enix's marketing man on Twitter, one of them, came out and said it's 100% total exclusive to Xbox.
Microsoft PR said the same thing straight afterwards.
Microsoft PR, and like, but people are going back and forth. Is it timed? Is it not? Like, no one knows, and they need to clarify it as soon as possible, because it's just the Tomb Raider brand is being dragged through the mud really at the moment.
The blog post was really apologetic as well. The way it came across, the Crystal Dynamics one, it came across as them saying they're putting their hands up and sort of trying to
said,
hedge.
you still have Temple of Osiris to play.
And you still got Definitive Edition.
It definitely read like it was a total exclusive, and it would be weird for them to say what they said if it wasn't. So,
but at the same time,
just
all
say,
the official kind of notice about it doesn't seem to be able to mention the exclusivity without also mentioning Holiday 2015. I think that's what people are latching on to. But it may just be wishful thinking, because people do want to see it on other platforms.
Well, I think every time anything is ever announced these days as exclusive, the first reaction is, when's it going to get ported to whatever else? Because it's just the way things are. There's such a, like, if it's on the console you don't have, everyone is automatically, oh, this is never an exclusive. Because, I mean, Microsoft haven't helped themselves with Dead Rising and Rise.
Yeah, it's a natural skepticism as well.
But I mean, they've only, at the moment, only come to PCs.
And that's the other thing, like, yesterday in the press release and on Xbox Wire, it said it was being published by Microsoft Studios, and they deleted that afterwards. It's like, well, you're just confusing people with what you're doing. Just come out and clarify it. And like Dead Rising and Rise were published by Microsoft Studios. Maybe Dead Rising was officially Capcom, but it was basically funded by Microsoft. And you're right. Like, what does exclusive mean on Xbox One anymore? Like, if this is
Mass Effect, I mean, that had Microsoft Game Studios logo.
Well, I guess Mass Effect. The difference with Mass Effect is that the whole studio ended up being bought by EA, which possibly complicated things. And it took years for PS3 to get that, didn't it? So I don't think anyone who bought an Xbox 360 could argue that that it was an exclusive, really. I mean, by the time that came out on anything else, it was years later. But,
Didn't 2 and 3 come out, or 2 had come out, 3 was about to come out by the time Mass Effect came to PS3?
Yeah, I mean, Mass Effect was definitely still thought of as an Xbox franchise for loads of years. So,
and you got to think like Square's financial situation; they're not going to turn down a deal. Microsoft need the big exclusives; they need the games. That's been their message since like Christmas. It's all about the games. So then they're going to be pushing for exclusives.
I think they've got to be careful of not having the image of they're stealing the games, because, like Sony.
Why though?
Because
why should they give a shit?
I think the difference.
It's like you're going to get the big games on our platform only. Surely that's a massive coup for
but
them.
if say they want people to play more on their platform, like, that's fine. But if you already own an Xbox, this announcement isn't good. It doesn't feel like it's adding anything to the Xbox as a console.
But to some people, they'd see it as, yeah, we got one over you PS4 guys.
But then you look at Sony's, I mean, for whatever, like their Gamescom showing at the conference, you could see that they actually had a lot of proper exclusive, they're not massive games, but they had games from their internal studios or partnered with people. And those games are proper exclusive games. And you look at Microsoft's, and the lineup was just not, you look at their like first party stuff and it's thin. It's really thin. And Sony have always had this strong first party studio support that the Microsoft are just way behind on. And I think they cut, so maybe a couple of years into the 360, suddenly everything was third party stuff.
But they have got good teams or
I mean,
respected teams.
Where's Rare? Like, they've got, presumably they must be doing something because they still exist. I mean, they're not doing presumably Kinect Sports anytime soon, so they've got to have something. I mean, Sony just had so many more interesting games they showed off that they're not system sellers, I don't think. But if you own a PS4, you're thinking, they're actually supporting this reasonably well with money and not just throwing it at games that I could have got anyway.
Yeah, I can't get behind Sunset Overdrive. I'm not feeling it. Like everything that game does, we were saying this earlier.
Yeah.
Brett, that trailer yesterday it put me off the game. I think.
Yeah.
So I went the other way though. This is the thing. Is I was talking to Miller about this as well, and I said the reason why I enjoy it as much as it puts itself across this brash thing is that it just knows it's a game. It knows it can be stupid.
But it looks like a game that I've already played.
Yeah, that's a good point. It came across very Dead Rising when it
It's
presented
so
itself.
try hard though. That's what gets me about
It depends whether it comes across as try hard or amusing when you play it, I think. Because at the moment, the lead character and stuff, he's so obnoxious. And
But it's not a lead character though, is it? Because you create your own. They keep putting across these different people as lead
Yeah,
characters.
they've still scripted it and all that.
Oh yeah, but I mean, these are just people that can be lead characters depending on what you create.
Well, you're
That's the
talking from a
problem.
visual, cosmetic.
Yeah,
perspective. I think they're still going to have, this is the character.
They introduced one of the like in the post Microsoft conference when they did the they sit down with the presenters. They introduced one of the tribes that you'll meet in the game as well, and that came across as even more Dead Rising. In those moments in Dead Rising 3 where you go into that hideout bit and you meet those guys who have sort of become like a cult, and it came across very much like they're called Bushido something, and they're all in like uniform and stuff.
It's just one of those. It's one of those games that looks like fun, but it doesn't excite me. Like I'll give it a go when it comes out, but I'm not thinking, oh, I'm glad I bought an Xbox One for that.
Oh yeah, it's not like you say, a system seller or a reason.
Like, when you compare it to, I don't know, like let's put a similar tier game on PS4, like Until Dawn, I would say. They're not like super AAA mega blockbusters like a God of War would be.
I think
that's
games,
the same for Sunset
they're
Overdrive.
they're kind of games that if you have that system, it's like another game you might
Exactly.
play.
Yeah, it looks
pick it
more
up,
interesting, I think, than Sunset Overdrive does. I know they're totally different types of games. I shouldn't be comparing them, but I'm saying on that sort of...
Yeah, I know the tier as opposed to the
I think
style.
Microsoft is lacking that kind of not B tier, but the kind of like the interesting game. Like everything appears to be. They've got some indie games. They announced some indie games at Gamescom, and I can't remember the list exactly. Like Super Hot is one of them, and they've got is it Below and that Cuphead.
I thought Blow. I thought Below was a. I thought it was a total Xbox One exclusive.
Well, this changed a while ago, didn't it? That it was coming to PC as well, and then I think other platforms.
But they said console first.
Yeah, I think they changed this a while ago. That it was because originally it was going to be a Microsoft's published game, then it turned into an idea Xbox game, I think, didn't it?
Right.
Possibly. So I think the exclusivity around that changed a while ago.
Yeah.
But it's still coming to Xbox first, and they'll market it probably as a Xbox exclusive for a while.
That was the big phrase, wasn't it? It was first to console on Xbox or PlayStation when they did their indie showcase.
Well, Microsoft's message just seemed to be, we know that PS4 is doing better, but you've already got Xbox Live friends, so you don't need to go elsewhere.
Yeah. That was what he kept saying, was it play with your friends.
Like with Destiny, it was like...
Yeah, play with your friends.
That message falls flat now, though, because it might have worked before they launched.
Yeah.
But now, like, I
Your
don't
friends
have
have
an
bought
Xbox
PS4
anymore. I don't have an Xbox One. I've got a PS4, so my friends are actually on PS4 now.
Yeah.
So this messaging needed to be done
It's been a total
year ago.
reversal, so
Yeah.
Talking about other things announced, most exciting thing for me, maybe, is Wild.
Yeah.
This is split
Yeah.
opinion in the
I think it
office.
looks good. I think
Wild?
this is
Wild.
The Michelle Ancel Wild Sheep Studios
PS4
new game.
exclusive as well, actual exclusive. Isn't
How
it?
is this not... How did Ubisoft
I don't
say
really
no
understand
to this?
Is he still at Ubisoft?
He's still at Ubisoft.
But he's making this with his other. Is it Sheep something?
Wild Sheep Studios.
Wild Sheep, yeah. So
Presumably he would have pitched this internally, though.
yeah.
Yeah, he must have.
Surely.
I don't know.
It looks
Who
like
knows?
it looks like DayZ meets Tokyo Jungle, and that just sounds like a great idea.
Well, it looks like how I imagined a game called BC to be, which was
Yeah.
Peter Molyneux's... Was it an Xbox game originally?
Xbox,
Original
yeah.
Xbox.
Yeah.
Is that one that never came out?
Yeah,
Right,
so it's a prehistoric game.
Yeah. I was thinking of Rhyme.
So yeah, Wild, it's an open world. He said it potentially as big as Europe. So
Yeah, I didn't quite get that. What do you mean potentially?
I don't know. I just assume it's a world that will expand, possibly like procedurally generated.
Is it like an online game?
Yeah, they said every animal and human you meet could be another player.
Right. Okay.
So it's an I can't remember how they described it, but an adventure survival game where you have to stay alive in the wild, essentially,
Yeah.
foraging
But
for
it
food.
looked. I mean, that summed up. I think the difference between PS4 and Xbox One at the moment is that is a game that Sony is working on, funding, whatever, and it is something that you don't. I don't think we're going to see much on Xbox at the moment.
It's like that and No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
You know.
And also they had that, like the Pixel Junk guys did what was it called? Little,
I can't remember now.
The Tomorrow Children or
Tomorrow
something like that.
Children, yeah. That looked really interesting.
Yeah, and those are the kind of games, they're not, I don't think they're system sellers, really. Maybe they will if, like, No Man's Sky may end up being, if it is as good as it looks, like it could be. But they're the kind of games that you think they might get, like, The Order and whatever big AAA stuff, but they're also going to put out loads of these smaller games, which aren't just, they're not just indie games, they're like really impressive looking.
They're word of mouth games. They're games that, you know, if they get a big community, will drive sales.
Yeah, but the thing is, like you say that no one of them is a system seller, but you look at the collective and you think, look at all of these indie games, you think that's a system seller because of all the
I think they
sheer
could
volume.
be system sellers though. I think Wild, if Wild takes off, like,
No Man's Sky and Wild, because they're like, I'd say they're above the other indie titles.
I think the issue I had with Sony, say the last year, is that every indie game they announced appeared to be across everything, and I don't want PS4 games that also run on the PS3 and a Vita. I think that isn't taking advantage of the PS4.
Yeah,
but they had a few of these games, like they had Rime, and they had Wild, and they had Tomorrow Children, and they had Ethan Carter or something, Vanishing of Ethan
Yeah, the
Carter.
Vanishing.
That looks interesting.
And the
like,
Housemarque game
yeah,
as well.
that looked good as well. And these are all games that look like they're actually being built for the PS4.
Yeah, especially with remote play as well on the Vita. Then you think, well, why not? If you want to play it there, you can just do that.
Yeah. There was a few other Xbox exclusive. Obviously, there was a lot of focus on Halo, the new Halo channel, which I honestly watched it, didn't quite understand what exactly it was.
Again, it just feels like one of those things that's dead already. Like, you've killed the TV side of it. This Halo channel seems to be like a TV
They've
channel
got, like, Twitch
type
stuff and everything
interactive.
else. I don't really get it as such, but they did, like Waypoint, they did 360, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Waypoint's good in what it does, but it's not one that I'd sit there and talk about for ages.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that with Halo at the moment, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how big Master Chief Collection is going to be. I think it'll be big, but it's not going to be as big as Halo 5 is going to be. So it doesn't feel like there's enough excitement to get all this stuff around this one game.
Yeah.
Like if it had been all geared around Halo 5, I could understand the extra stuff, but just like Master Chief Collection is going to be nice, but it's just a filler game, isn't it, really? I mean, for fans, it's good, but it's not the big Xbox One mega game that Halo 5 should be.
I find it strange they're not pushing the fact that the beta's in there as much. Like when you had...
I don't know, they're kind of talking about it as much as they can. Aren't they? I'm surprised they haven't shown any footage of it.
Yeah, it's not even on the box. Or
Well, they
anything.
had
Like, when you see
they
it
did
on-
have some little snippets in the trailer, didn't they?
Yeah,
Halo
like
5?
off
Yeah.
screen.
Did they?
Yeah,
like they showed
inside the
guy.
trailer. It was just like environment pictures.
Oh, right.
So there was like, I don't know, 5 seconds, and it ran through a few different environments and stuff.
They had off screen as well, like a guy using the controller playing the game. Like you could see a corner of the screen as well, using like the rifle and stuff.
Yeah.
I think clearly they want to push Master Chief Collection, and then come early December, late November, it'll be, look, Halo 5's coming, get this, and you'll get a
There's
beta.
just no big game that can compete with PS4.
I
Like
think-
Forza 2,
Yeah.
Drive Club made
Horizon,
it better.
Horizon, I like Drive Club. I thought Horizon just would beat it easily because the way they were going.
Well, we all thought that originally,
Drive Club
didn't we?
looked rubbish, and then obviously you assumed that Horizon was going to be good because the last game was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then whenever they showed off Drive Club again, suddenly it looked amazing, and you think, well, now that looks like the kind of game I want to play, and they're coming out at a similar time.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have an Xbox One, and I was thinking like maybe 4 or 5 months ago I might get an Xbox One this Christmas because it's got some games I might want.
Yeah.
But Sony have actually kind of done something to make me think, actually, do I really need one?
There always seems to be an equivalent, doesn't there?
And then the Bloodborne, which I really don't care about Dark Souls at all,
Yeah.
but that trailer looked pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
looked
like,
really good.
It looked good, and that's like, again, what game like that is on Xbox One? Nothing. And it looked interesting. It had something about it that is not just every other game I've ever seen. And like, I don't know, like if it plays just like Dark Souls, I'll probably hate it. But it looked interesting. It looks like something that I would like to have a go on.
Xbox One exclusive that I thought did look, I'm going to use the word, amazing. It's Quantum, if I can say it,
Well,
Quantum Break.
I was watching it. You guys are at the office, so I was watching it here with Burns and Miller, and I think the reaction here was they weren't as thrilled, but I thought it looked great.
I
mean,
thought the time stuff
really
was
good.
really good.
I really like Alan Wake anyway, so I'm like
Yeah.
looking forward to this because I like what they've done before. I thought it looked a little bit possibly too much like a Max Payne clone because of the time stuff. But it looked like the enemy design looked interesting. All the time stuff looked cool. I still think there's probably stuff we're not seeing exactly in how certain mechanics work. I just don't know. I mean, did they announce when that's coming out? Just next year?
Yeah.
Did they put it alongside Tomb Raider as one of their holiday games?
Don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a rumor, wasn't it?
It was up on screen at the same time. And I think everyone assumed that game was going to be out sooner than it is.
Well, I could have sworn they announced it for like late 2013 or early 2014 originally.
Yeah, I think lots of people thought it was going to be close to launch, and it's possibly going to end up being 2 years after.
I just think all that time stopping stuff, and like when the environment all froze, I thought all that stuff looked really cool.
That's good.
They didn't egg the combat as much as they could have because he was doing things in the boss battle at the end that I didn't know what he was doing. But if they'd have explained that,
I was a little concerned about the combat.
Yeah.
In that. Oh shit! In that he kept seeing to doing the same move where he was freezing time for the bullets and then piling them all in at the same time. Yeah. And I was worried that it's just going to be a game about
look
that.
Like the combat would get very samey.
Yeah. But they weren't explaining it. They weren't saying anything during the combat. That's the thing.
But all the stuff they're doing outside the combat, I thought looked really good.
Yeah.
So,
you know, when they first started showing bits of Quantum Break, like I feel like the less I knew about it, the more interested I was in it.
Really?
I mean, when they first started showing it, it felt like there would be some kind of... I don't know if I'm completely alone in this or if I just totally got the wrong end of the stick, but it looked like there would be some kind of like procedural kind of investigation element to it.
I think, it looked like there would still be something like that because there was the bit where the woman was holding the guy and he went up and looked at it, and I don't know what he did exactly, but it looked like there would be that bit where you freeze time and you look around and analyse things, I guess. But I think they probably were concerned that people hadn't really seen anything from this game and wanted to show it as a game, because if they'd just shown another load of interactive cutscenes, people had probably been, this isn't a game, this is another movie type thing they're trying to push. Yeah. So I think they wanted to show it as an actual, you shoot guns, it is a third person cover based shooter, and then hopefully there'll be other elements they add on to reveals the next 6 months.
I hope there's a good balance between the the interesting stuff and what was it, essentially a cover shooter with lots of bullet time more.
And remember,
fine.
But remember how cool Max Payne was when it first came out. That was amazing.
I mean, obviously, like
if they can do that again,
Max Payne, like I've liked every Max Payne game, and this is obviously the people that made Max Payne originally, so it should be good. I mean, hopefully the other stuff they had on top makes it more than just another shooter, because it looks like we're going to get loads of those anyway. So
it's weird because obviously there's going to be Gears eventually, and they're now going to have two similar types of games, first party wise, but I don't know.
But they've also got Scream Ride.
I'm intrigued in that game.
Because when the Frontier popped up, I heard Jim made an audible gasp of glee as he thought, obviously this is going to be Elite. They're bringing Elite over. It was an audible gasp
of horror, actually.
And then it wasn't. It was roller coasters. And then I thought, this is just bollocks, roller coaster sim.
But they made roller coaster arcade, didn't they?
Yeah. But then they added this, clearly it's roller coasters with an element of
murder,
Angry Birds type destruction and murder. And it kind of looked fairly interesting by the end of it.
Fun.
I mean, it's quite funny. I was reading a very popular internet forum.
Hi, Gaff.
Yeah. And there was a kind of odd reaction on there about how lots of people seemed offended by the fact that this game lets you kill humans.
Really?
And
it's the only game that lets you do that. It's the only game.
It's like someone suggested that there should be, instead of humans, it should be sort of like lemming type creatures. And
it is a bit of a sick twist. But that's what people did in Roller Coaster Tycoon anyway.
I think
that's what you ever did.
They've clearly taken what people like doing and made it as a main mechanic in whatever it is. But I mean, we haven't really seen how that game works yet. No. But it could be interesting. Like, clearly they look like they were pushing the physics and the destruction and stuff in the trailer. Yeah. But I mean, as a roller coaster sim, it looked like they did something at least different with it. I mean, who knows if that's going to end up being good, but it looks like being one of the exclusives for early next year.
But it's not necessarily a theme park builder, right?
Yeah, you build that. I said your currency is screens.
Yeah, so the idea is
like you have to build the biggest one, and it has the biggest destruction with the more people you can get on.
But it's not like building a big theme park.
No, I
think it's just building roller coasters to make people.
I mean, at the moment, who knows if it's only just, it might be more than roller coasters, we don't know, but it does look like it at the moment is building something that makes people lose their shit.
There is an actual new Roller Coaster Tycoon coming,
Yeah.
which could be amazing.
Is this?
It could be
one,
shit,
Is this the
but it
one
could be
that?
amazing.
Because they
What's it
announced
coming
the
to?
free-to-play thing. didn't
Roller
they?
Coaster Tycoon World, PC, 2015.
Is this a proper game, not
It's
free
not
to
a
play?
free to play
Proper
iPad game or anything.
Proper Roller Coaster Tycoon. Apparently.
Apparently.
There won't be microtransactions. That's what we know.
Are you making it exclusive PC?
No, my contract with Sony is
God damn.
a PS4 exclusive.
God damn.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
if-
going to bring that up.
Yeah. Just shut up.
I missed this because I was kind of on the bus, but the DayZ stuff. DayZ's going to PS4.
Yes.
With a big graphical upgrade that's coming to a PC version as well.
Right.
But did they mention it's not just PS4?
Well, it was announced at
presumably?
Sony's conference, so they're never going to
No,
say, are they?
but it could be coming to everything else.
Yeah.
But
They didn't show any gameplay.
They,
of it, did
they
They
barely
just-
said anything. As
clearly
well.
it's
It's probably about 5 years
yeah, I
away.
mean, the beta, wasn't it meant to come out of beta like
This Christmas.
last Christmas?
No,
this Christmas.
I'll
So,
be very interested to see how the console community builds around that game.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the console community are perhaps more prone to griefing and things like that.
But isn't that what all these guys... That's like Wild, isn't it? Isn't Wild just DayZ, but with animals?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
Isn't that
DayZ
sort of
Tokyo Jungle.
Disney
Yeah.
Daisy, maybe.
Yeah.
It looks good though. I mean,
Yeah.
it all looks good.
I mean, that and like because Rhyme, did we mention Rhyme already?
Is that,
I
the one,
missed
is that the one where the character looks a bit like Eco?
It looks
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah,
yeah.
Eco cross with like
Like Wind Waker, aesthetic.
style.
Yeah.
But I think it's Unreal Engine 4 possibly.
Right.
The only issue I have, it looks really nice, but the people that make it, Tequila something software.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tequila software.
something
Who
like
ones
that.
that did... Is it Darklight?
Which is like it looked nice, and then you played it, and
Yeah.
it was like this is like classic Prince of Persia, but more awkward.
Yeah.
It was really not the game I thought it was going to be. I was a bit concerned that some of it looked a little bit similar in that it didn't quite flow, like the movements and stuff. I don't know, like I assume that's still probably a way off, but
It's
it
next
looked
year,
nice.
isn't
It looked nice. It looked like a good, again, another Sony game that you don't get on the Xbox at the moment.
I just think Sony had the stronger conference. You could just rattle off names of games in that Sony conference where you're
Yeah.
like, that
Yeah.
looked good. Whereas in Microsoft's one, it was just like, well, that looked how I thought it was going to look. And there was nothing really, there was nothing particularly new
What was
or
this?
exciting.
They actually, and they even announced like proper update to the software, didn't they? 2.0.
2.0. Well, it's not, I
What
mean,
was
it's got a
the-
new
what was
feature.
this thing? What's share play?
The backseat gaming thing where,
Yeah.
like, if I'm watching you play, we're in our own houses. I'm watching
Yeah.
you play a game, and you're stuck. So on knack.
Yeah.
It's that
I'll
thing
go,
they announced at the
I'll
reveal.
jump
Right,
in.
okay,
It's
so
the
that's
Guy
actually
stuff.
coming.
That's
Yeah.
quite cool.
Did they
Yeah.
give a time frame for any of this?
This year, this
year.
autumn.
And they said PlayStation Now beta in 2015 first to the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
But that's the
Europe,
only
sorry, that's
real
in Europe,
main,
yeah.
main feature of the update.
I thought they might have mentioned something about the pricing for PlayStation Now. Because if they'd have come out and gone, we've heard all your feedback, blah, 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 we're going to do a subscription service, and look, we're bringing all these PS1 games. It's like...
I guess it's an odd one because that was Sony America, isn't it, at the moment? And they don't
Yeah.
really...
I don't think they still technically know what they're going to do with that because they keep talking about we might do a subscription model, but we still got this rental thing because they're getting so much feedback.
It's going to live or die on that.
Yeah.
It's like, if it's priced the same way On Live was, it's going to die.
Yeah.
Like, but
That's the problem is they genuinely they know they can't fuck out, like you say. If they fuck out day one, it will never come back from it
it'd be
because
great if you had some kind of, I don't know, some kind of limited access to it with PlayStation Plus or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Like that'd be good.
like
People are
a
gonna
much
compare
smaller
it now.
library.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They're going to compare it to EA Access.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Sony coming out and saying they don't think that's good value. Well, better make sure this one is then.
What about the 10 million units?
It's impressive, I think.
reveal?
Like,
Yeah, it's a lot.
What's
And-
Xbox up to?
I don't know, not 10. That's the key thing.
Do you guys have any idea what the 360 was at this
I
point?
don't know, but I do remember that, was it Matrick that said the first of 10 million wins?
Did he?
Did he?
I think so. Someone from Microsoft definitely
Should we
said
look
it.
that up?
Someone definitely
Yeah,
said
let's
it.
get the
You got your
quote.
phone?
Yeah.
And there was a definite reason why Sony made a big deal about 10 million.
Right.
Really?
I'm pretty sure someone at Xbox said it for,
Matrix
last,
said a
for
lot of
some- for
things,
one
didn't he?
generation.
Because it's pretty. I mean, that's a pretty respectable.
I think it's
user base,
it's a very impressive, considering I don't think the PS4 has, or either console, I'm not being biased against Sony, but either console has any real system sellers. Like I only bought a PS4 because I work in games and I wanted to buy one of them. And
Right. Here's the quote. Don Matrick, May 2008. So this was about 360. History has shown us that the first company to reach 10 million in console sales wins the generation battle. There you go.
I'm
well
pretty
played,
sure
Matrix.
Sony clearly
Wow.
knew that when they
Yeah.
when they made their little announcement.
Let's do it in
Oh, no,
just
hang-
9 months.
The headline says first to 100 million wins, but then the actual quote seems to say first to 10 million. So
Well, it's first to if you get to 100 million, then you've won.
Yeah,
Let's face it.
Even if you're not winning the generation, you've done 100 million, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I'll take second. Yeah, you can have your 101 million.
Clearly, 10 million. Like Microsoft are in trouble. Like there's no, I don't know what their figure is. And Sony maybe.
I think it was 5 million shipped.
They claim they haven't launched all the territories yet, which Sony made a big deal about as well. Everything had a slight dig to it when they ever announced any kind of stat. Like we've launched simultaneously in every territory, blah blah blah, which Microsoft still haven't done. And you look at what Microsoft actually did at Gamescom, and I think people thought maybe they're going to go big and try and claw their way back somehow. The bundles they announced. Okay, but I still think £350 with a game.
I think it's odd that the 1 terabyte model, because that's 429 now, the original launch price with COD. I thought maybe they'd introduce that as the sort of standardized 349.
The problem is, I don't think people are holding off buying an Xbox One because it only has a 500 gig hard drive. That's not. It's not going to suddenly go. Actually, that's all I needed to make my purchase.
I don't think the hard drive space is anybody's concern with the console.
I mean,
it is a concern.
When you get it,
it's not going to make your decision for you.
Especially considering Xbox is the one that supports external hard drives. Whereas PS4 doesn't. So it's not like you say, that's not a barrier to entry at the minute.
Everything about Xbox since Spencer took over has been games, and I still don't think they have the killer games that they need because Sony can get by forever now until the next generation on we have the more powerful console, and they'll always win third party. Like your sales for third party games are always going to be I'm going to buy on PS4 because it's more powerful. Microsoft can't get over that. As much as they push the play it on Xbox because all your friends are there, that argument died when the Xbox One didn't sell very well, or didn't sell as well as the PS4. So Microsoft need exclusives, and I don't think spending however much money on Tomb Raider is the answer. They need to show that they've got more games coming, and to do that they need actual first party studios to make stuff. And like Sony have that and Microsoft don't.
And they can do it. Like put Rare on Conker or Banjo.
They need more studios. Though.
I know they may not necessarily sell absolute gangbusters, but like from a perspective of the consumer, they'll think these are games that I want. Then
they need more than Rare though. That's the thing. Sony's got a bucket load of studios.
They've got the IPs.
Yeah, instead of spending the money on
bring talent in and start setting up studios.
And they've got IPs they could farm out. Like we've seen, Killer Instinct wasn't made by Rare really. They may have assisted bits here and there, but all those games that they own, get someone on them. Like people will make them. Like they don't need them all out at once, but at least tell us they're doing them. Like the gesture they did about Conker and in Project Spark was just a joke.
Or resurrect like classic IPs that are exclusive. Like Geometry Wars 3. Why couldn't they have got that for
that felt
Xbox One?
And like for me, like I know they've got their racing franchise, but if they'd announced PGR, I'd have bought an Xbox One. I'd have bought one. Like Forza, as much as I like Forza, is not appealed to me in the same way that PGR does. And it felt weird when Activision announced Geometry Wars. Is weird because that is traditionally tied to PGR, and it just didn't feel like Microsoft are missing out on this kind of heritage thing that everyone else seems to be able to capitalize on.
I just think that at the moment, everything that we're seeing announced, everything that's come out and being released in the next year or so was clearly obviously greenlit years ago when Xbox and Microsoft were on top of it, had a totally different direction for Xbox One. And now that things have sort of gone tits up, all that stuff that's already heavily into production is going to start filtering out over the next couple of years, and maybe we'll see like massive games like that sort of stuff come out in sort of 3 years.
There was
time,
stuff
but
they
it
announced.
Feels like it's going to be too late.
Yeah, there's stuff that they announced at E3 they didn't mention, like Crackdown and that Scalebound, and was there something else they announced but those games don't feel that close. No. So I assume that's why we didn't see them. And then next year we're going to have presumably Quantum Break and Tomb Raider, and I imagine a new Forza, maybe Forza 6. And again, that lineup, maybe they'll have something else like Halo is bound next year as well. I mean, Halo, I guess, is their first big system seller.
It's 2 years later. I don't get their strategy anymore, and I don't think they get it either.
Well, they've changed it, haven't they? And it's massive. And not only is the concept of the console changed, but with Matrick going and Phil Harrison,
they're going to have to cut the generation short. They're going to have to.
They either need to cut it short or they need it massively cheaper, because there is no way, as much as they might not think it, people know that the PS4 is more powerful. Sony say it all the time now in all their advertising. And at the same price, the Xbox does not look attractive. Like, there's no way you would go in and go, they're the same price. shall I get the less powerful console? No.
You can tell they're hurting as well. Like you can see it in the execs. You can see it in people like Major Nelson on camera. Like they're really deflated, and like even using like the Rocky quote in an advert is ridiculous. Yes. Like they know they're down, but we're going to go down fighting, sort of thing. It's like. What other? Can you imagine Apple or someone like that using that in an advert? Like we know we've lost, but we're going to do the best we can.
But Microsoft do that when it comes to advertising their Surface tablets as well. When they constantly try and take digs at Apple, and it just makes them look petty.
The next generation will be amazing because both parties have learnt so many lessons from this.
They've learnt them quickly and very hard.
They just need to. They need to put out the most powerful box they can possibly afford to, and not lose money on tons of money anyway. Because I mean, the Xbox 360 when it came out felt cutting edge. It felt like something ahead of everything else. Even compared to PC in a way, because it had stuff that wasn't really available that readily on PC.
The PS3 when it eventually came out as well felt a bit bloated, and it was launched on a sort of tidal wave of hubris.
And Microsoft capitalised on the fact that their console was the one that had all the third-party stuff better than on their rivals, and now they haven't got that, and they haven't got the games exclusive either. So they've just got a machine that costs the same or is more expensive, and doesn't have anything else going for it apart from Halo and a few other first-party exclusives.
I mean, the last gen, generally speaking, the 360 was the sort of your meat and potatoes machine, and you'd buy a PS3 for the exclusives. Like the 360 had like some killer exclusives, the Halos and the Gears of Wars and stuff, but you didn't buy it specifically for those first party things, did you? It was because it was the better console to play your Fallout and play everything else on.
It's all down to personal taste, obviously, and if your friends are on PS3, then fine. But it had the better controller, I thought, had the better online stuff. It was just generally perceived as the better console, and it's just everything's 180 this time around. And
it's incredible how much it's turned around.
Well, they got completely fooled by the success of Kinect, didn't they? Like that boosted their sales for a while, and people, they obviously assumed
we discussed this future. Recently. Did we discuss this last week? Well, like that, fair enough. That would boost sales at the end of a life cycle. But you can't come out at the beginning of that.
It's Microsoft's 32X, isn't it?
Yeah, but
curse of the third console always happens. It's always going to happen.
The one way I think they could claw it back slightly, and I thought this might be announced yesterday because of the little tease that they put on Twitter, was backwards compatibility. If they can work out a way to sort of emulate 360 on Xbox One, I think that would encourage a lot of 360 users to jump over to
like I said to you the other day, like I'm reluctant to get rid of my 360 because I've got, I don't know, probably 50 odd Xbox Live games that I've bought and never played. I'm thinking, if I get rid of it, that's it. I'm never going to play those. So I cling on to it with the probably stupid thought that I will eventually play all those games. Whereas if I could just get rid of it and then get all my games on the Xbox One, I'd do it as soon as I had the money available. But that's not, I mean, who knows how feasible that is, but it's something that they could definitely get some points on if they can do it.
Yeah. It would be a big one over on Sony as well if they managed to get a decent backward compatible solution in there.
Probably it'd be too late, like you say, with the PlayStation Now and
the library. They're running out of time really to.
I'm not sure PlayStation Now is really.
PlayStation Now could be good if
like
get their act together,
right? Yeah. Because again, it seems like
I don't think the public are sold on it at all.
No.
Oh, they are very skeptical about it because download speeds and all the reasons why it will have
but there are so many things that they could, in theory, do. Put a PS3 disc in and it will read that you've got the license, you can stream that game. Like if they were to do things like that, which I don't think is technically impossible, that would be a big win for that service. But why wouldn't they do that? Well, it's a money thing, presumably.
It must be doable because when you had the PS3 to PS4 upgrades, like Assassin's Creed and all, the PS4 was reading the PS3 disc to do it.
PT.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Probably the best thing at Gamescom, maybe.
Yeah.
Just haven't played it yet. Very excited to play it.
I don't think any of us have played it.
I played it last night.
Oh, right.
Because I thought, I didn't know anything about it other than because listening to the conference on the way home, I had it in my pocket and I could only hear it, not see it. And I heard them say, all I heard was, and this is available now on the PlayStation Store. I didn't know what it was. So I got home, downloaded it, and I went in the evening about 10:10. I thought I'd have half an hour, I'll play this. And it's really scary. It's like... it looks really nice. Like it's clearly, I assume, the Fox engine because it's been revealed now that it is a teaser for.
What a way to announce a game!
Silent Hill,
amazing.
And it is,
that was an incredible reveal.
And the fact that nobody seemed to know, like obviously some people knew,
and the fact it took hours for that to actually happen,
it's a really clever thing. But the actual demo or teaser, whatever it is itself, I think people got frustrated because it became quite hard to figure out exactly what you're meant to be doing towards the end. But as just a piece of like, I only played it for 40 minutes or so. It was just really creepy. And if that is an indication of the kind of level of fear that Silent Hill the new game is going to have, it's a good sign.
We should probably explain if people don't know that PT is a playable teaser for Silent Hills.
Yeah, it's essentially just, as far as I played, you wake up, you're a guy, I assume you're a guy, I think.
It's that guy from The Walking Dead, isn't it?
Yeah, that's revealed later on.
Yeah.
That's the big reveal. And Kojima's been tweeting pictures with that guy for about a year, it seems. And Del Toro is working alongside them on this project. And you wake up and then you like walk through a door, then you're in what looks like an apartment of some sort, and there's a corridor, and there's a picture frames everywhere, and there's a phone, there's a door that's locked, and then another door that's locked, and then you can go through a door at the end, you go down some stairs, and then suddenly there's another door, and then you're in the same room again. It kind of is like a cycle. It repeats round and round and round. But every time you go around, some other stuff happens. Is
it jump scares?
It's very creepy, so there's lots of build up, and because essentially the level is just one corridor, but with a 90-degree corner. So you walk down one and you know there's other stuff as you turn around, it's going to be down this other corridor. And lots of it is about noises and lights and stuff. And then obviously there are actual things that appear. And it's very creepy. Like there's a bit where there's like a radio playing, and it just says something like, look behind you in a kind of weird way. And you think, I'm not looking behind me. Clearly I look behind me and there's going to be something there.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, but I was still freaked out because it told me to look behind me, and there's like mirrors, and there's a freaky thing in a sink.
Yeah.
And it's like doors rattle and weird things happen and glass smashes, and it's very well done. I mean, I'm sure if I played it longer, I might have got frustrated because people are obviously desperate to see what was going to happen at the end. So I think there's an element of, why isn't this ended yet? I want to see what's going to happen, because I think people obviously thought this is going to reveal something. I've got to get to the end to see what's going to happen. But as just to like playing it just for like as a game, it was really well done.
You just think though, sorry,
Brett said he played it for 5 hours yesterday.
Yeah,
mad.
I think it becomes quite like what you actually have to do to finish it becomes quite obtuse, I think. But
you just think though, like, what could Kojima bring to a game like that?
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, because this all the psychological stuff and fourth wall stuff, like Psycho Mantis back in the day, and all that.
Yeah.
Merrill on the box and
Del
things like
Toro
that.
is like obviously known for making really creepy horror films. Like before he made lots of Spanish horror films, and like Devil's Backbone is like a really creepy film about like a dead boy basically in a like, I think it's like an orphanage or something. It's like it's really, he makes really creepy films. And
Bruce Willis,
I think it may be Dave, maybe you are.
Maybe this is what happened. You play as Bruce Willis in Silent Hills, and this Norman thing is just another red herring.
Was Del Toro working? Was he was doing that Insane game, wasn't he?
Yes, that's THQ game, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how if this has got any kind of element of what he wanted to do in that project. Possibly. I mean, I assume if he wanted to make a game, he's going to try. He's got ideas, then who knows? So there might be some crossover. But
it's a really good partnership, though, isn't it? Those two
together.
together.
They're two of the most like inventive people.
So I mean, they could have announced. They could just Konami could just gone, we're making Silent Hills with this team, and people would have been excited. But the way they announced it with just this unknown game, and then it was revealed, it was really well done. And the actual game itself it suggests some very good things for wherever they're doing with it.
I feel like the name Silent Hills is Steve Burns' worst nightmare, though, because he hates it when you call it Silent Hill 1 and stuff like that. So if you call the game Silent Hills, it sounds like a mispronunciation, so I reckon he's going to go insane every time you say Silent Hills. But no, I actually mean Silent Hills. He's going to lose it.
Yeah.
Just calm down with GQ magazine. You'll be
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
You sound it, Dave.
I'll never be able to play through it because it will scare the shit.
We got to play through PT at lunch.
Well,
yeah, Dave.
Braz has kind of stolen our thunder, hasn't he?
Yeah, but
Why?
you can
Brad's
still,
doing a massive
experience
video
it,
right now.
Dave. Just
yeah, we've still got to play it.
I might do it.
I almost tweeted, I'll say it now because I might as well, that this could be the first game that actually makes you shit yourself.
Well,
Because there are some bits in it. I'm sure lots of people
could be a bit loose at the moment. But we won't go there.
It's very scary. Like, I'm sure people are going, I don't get
Like
scared by
scarier than the
games.
other stuff we've done.
I think so. I think it is more effective in how it introduces the scares than sort of like Outlast.
Is it Project Zero, basically?
It's going to be scarier than Daylight.
Yeah,
You gotta take Diddy
Daylight
home.
was bollocks. Outlast had like the jump scare factor, didn't it? But this has
I was
more.
getting confused. I don't know what they are.
This has more like building and creepiness. Like it felt, and it's just weird. Like there's some stuff that's just plain weird that I think freaks you out and then gets you on edge for everything else. Like nothing happens for a while and you're still freaked out because
That's what Alien's like, though, isn't it?
and
Like
it's got
the
like
fear of the
babies. It's got
unknown.
like babies crying and screaming, and that always freaks you out because it's just you don't like that sound.
It's just
Did you play
triangle,
this at
isn't it?
home?
Puts you on
With your wife and young child?
She wasn't in the room, but Jacob was asleep in the bed.
Well, he thinks he was asleep. He's going to come in tomorrow. He's going to be like Damien. He's going to be terrified.
But I think you should definitely play it because even though you know now what it was for, I think it's still worth playing through.
It is amazing.
But
And
it's
it's better
playing-
than what he did with Metal Gear.
Yeah.
What scared you the most before, Dave? What game was really, really scared
Alex
you?
Kidd, isn't it? Alex Kidd.
Oh,
Alex Kidd.
Don't remember. It actually was Alex Kidd.
I had nightmares of Alex
Was it?
Kidd. When you go to a ghost.
Is that it?
And then when you die,
When you die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
is that how it goes?
Yeah. And
Oh.
it just floats
I
up.
hated it.
Yeah.
And the green fish and the octopus.
Not the fit. They didn't.
And you're in your bike, not your bike. The like,
Yeah, the trikey type thing.
yeah, the like, oh.
Yeah. Do you know what used to scare
And then
me?
you got to the boss, and it was a rock paper scissors. How do I do
yeah,
this?
you die. Yeah, you just wander into one of those rooms by mistake.
That game was one of the scariest games ever made.
Do you know what used to scare me as a kid as well? You know the dog in Duck Hunt? You know when you missed all the ducks and you used to pop up behind the bush and laugh at you? Used to scare me. I don't know why.
You two are pathetic.
That is pathetic.
It
That is
actually pathetic.
It used to scare me.
I can't talk. I
Unbelievable.
can't play scary games at all. That lasts 20 minutes. I have to turn them off. Talking of shitting pants, Until Dawn on PS4 was a bit of a surprise to me, to be honest, because that's something that I've just
Well,
not been interested
it looked
in.
like it was going to be garbage when they first
Yeah.
announced it because
It
it was
looked like a
PlayStation.
parody,
it was
didn't it?
PlayStation Move. It looked like a kind of comedy horror,
Yeah, like
teen
Cabin in the
horror
Woods.
slasher
slasher
thriller.
thing.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
always
Like Cabin in
looked
the
like
Woods game.
Yeah.
like it was going to be.
A bit of a joke.
Yeah,
But
they said they've made it more of
They
a,
said it's completely rewritten.
an actual
didn't
horror
they?
game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who knows?
It's got
It's
from
going to be
really
good.
interesting.
Got
Yeah.
from Scary Movie to Friday the 13th. But yeah, it did look really
It's
good.
running on the
like-
Killzone engine or something, so it should,
It
look,
is, yeah.
should look nice.
It's like they were developing one game, stopped halfway through, and just ripped it apart and started
Kaz
again.
walked in and went, "This is shit. Do it again." Just grab the game, just ripped it up into shreds
Yeah,
and
I'm
start
kind-
again.
Jack Tretton
I'm kind
batters
of
them with a chair.
I'm kind of excited for it. So I get the idea. You play as 8 different people. Is that
Yeah.
right? And you make choices.
Well, they made
to
a big
stop
thing
them
about
from
how
dying.
anyone can die and anyone can live. So
Yeah.
it sounds like it's
What
going to
Heavy
be
Rain could have been.
kind of, and that you can get all of them can live, or all of them can die
Mm.
is their thing. So I assume it's going to be like, I don't know how that's going to affect the game. Say if one of the characters dies, how that translates to what happens later on. But
But I wonder if you control each of them at different chapters in the game, or if it's like a
know.
night trap,
Don't know.
like night trap, where you can sort of zap between each of them at any time.
Mhm.
But it does look really
looked-
good.
Again, that's another interesting looking Sony game.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be happy about any kind of night trap comparisons.
yeah, that's true. But I simply
Probably not
yeah.
what they're going for.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do it. I just wanted to mention as well. I mean, we're probably not going to talk extensively about EA's conference, but Battlefield Hardline.
You mean Bad Boys?
Does it not? Does it not look like the? I'm sorry, but frankly, stupidest thing?
I just don't know what to think of it.
It's just.
I love Battlefield.
Why they? I don't understand why they haven't just made another Bad Company, because Bad Company
know.
is good. It was a good game.
I don't understand.
Both of them were good, and then they obviously that was DICE, and this is Visceral, but they could have gone, have this game that people like, and would be quite excited to see come back. But no, they've made Hardline, which even the logo looks kind of dodgy and cheap.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously they've taken the extra 5 months to work on it because it was going to be out October and is now some
Early
point
next
year.
next year.
To make it Far Cry.
But I don't think it still doesn't ever. It's not going to get away from the fact that it isn't the game that people want to be playing. I don't think.
it's such a hodgepodge of ideas as well.
Yeah.
Like Brett said there. I mean, there's that whole bit where it turns into Far Cry for 5 minutes. There's weird things that don't make any sense. Like player character seems to have an infinite number of handcuffs. Just arrest everyone.
I think lots of it. I mean, lots of games suffer from these kind of. It's a game, so they do stuff like the crates you buy ammo from and all that kind of stuff. That's a gaming convention. But because the game itself feels so like almost like a joke, you pick up on all these things and they become worse than what they would be in other games.
Because it tries to ground itself in some sort of reality as well. And when they try saying, "Oh, you've got this," we want to give the game a more choice, and then so you can actually affect how you play the game. And then the choice was you go left, right, or straight forward.
That felt quite like forced and a bit too obvious.
The felt like a game demo from 2008.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
When that was a thing, like Far Cry 2 era.
And they can't, and the comparisons to the Cartel are like you can't help but see it. Like the bit when they came out from the ladder and it was like that big open like camp. It looked like one of the levels directly from the Cartel. And that game was so bad that anything that reminds you of it is automatically going to be thought of as a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
What about that bit as well? They approach the camp, and this is like a criminal den.
Well, he showed them the badge, and they went, "All right."
Remote bit of the desert. They see two cops rocking up with a badge, and they immediately put their hands up. Bollocks!
Let me just put my rocket launcher down and surrender. And also, he got a zip wire out of thin air.
Yeah.
Just to get up onto the thing. And then Miller, he's watching. Went, "Do you know how hard it is to climb a rope?" He was up 50 feet within 2 seconds. He's like, "Do you know how hard that is?"
It's like Just Cause is full of the most ridiculous things ever. But you accept them because it's a fun game.
Yeah, and it knows that it's not trying to be
and this. Like the fact, like even Just Cause, you suddenly like attach yourself to a rocket and fly in the air. It's fine. It's fun.
Yeah.
You don't care that it's ridiculous. But this, it feels like it's just a bit dumb.
Yeah.
The best bits of the older Battlefield campaigns, and this is why not many Battlefield campaigns are very good because there's not many of them, was then they put like the vehicle bits in. So a bit in Bad Company 2 where you're rolling on the tanks. Like, that was really good. You run into the city, right? With
Bad Company had the best single player campaigns of all the Battlefield games by a long way.
Vehicles in it, and I don't just mean like driving a car forward like on a highway like Call of Duty. I mean that. By the way, that looked. I wasn't impressed by that.
That demo was like was a bit. The single player bit, was a bit of a dud.
Multiplayer looks great.
Yeah.
Single player, I was not so taken by that demo.
But still, I thought the single player of that looked better than Hardline.
What do we think of Shadow Realms?
I don't know. They didn't really give us much to go on, did
This
they?
was the back at E3 when BioWare just sort of casually mentioned we've got another IP.
I don't think this is it.
Was this it?
No, I don't think it is. I think they said it's not, possibly.
Right,
I've read somewhere that it's not. Maybe that's a lie. I don't know.
Okay.
But I think that might be something.
This isn't the new IP
if it is, that's
from
quite
Casey Hudson. It's not his
this is
IP.
like another thing. But it sounds, it might be interesting, but we don't know. I mean, people are going to be playing it at Gamescom, so we might find out more in the
Shall I
next couple
read
of
you
days.
the description and you'll understand immediately why I give no shits. Shadow Realms isn't just harkening back to those early BioWare PC games. It's finally bringing the magic of tabletop RPGs to the digital realm. I'm out.
How many tabletop RPGs have you played, Dave? Has anyone here played a tabletop RPG?
No.
I get there's an audience for it. I get there's a market for it. And it's probably a growing market.
In the room.
But
Yeah, the one person in this office.
But it sounds like Fable, doesn't it?
It's
One
like
person is
Evolve
the
with
big
Fable
bad guy.
Legends.
One person's the big bad guy that controls everything, which is Fable Legends, and then the other four go against the bad guy.
Which is Evolve as well. So,
It's like- it sounds-
Someone in our chat room described it as grim dark Fable. So
I mean, they basically showed nothing of the game, so it's hard to say what it's going to be like. But it's free to play, isn't it? Is it coming late next year for PC?
You can sign up
Alpha's
now.
happening soonish or something. But
whenever BioWare announces a new game, you're usually like, yeah. This one, you're like,
I mean, EA's whole conference felt
like the
like a
E3
waste
one.
of time, really.
Yeah.
Like,
how much time did they spend on The Sims?
so
as well?
long. Like, Peter Moore
I
looked.
kind of understand that though. Like, that's
Sims
their
is
next
it's
big
massive,
game.
and particularly I don't know how it is in Germany, but maybe it's huge in Germany more than it is even over here.
People are going to buy FIFA regardless.
Yeah.
People have kind of been down on the Sims for a while because of certain things. And I know, I guess, I understand why they needed to push it as hard as they did. It just went on a little bit too long.
But I think the whole thing just felt like EA at a time. EA had a bad reputation for churning out rubbish for, like, I don't know when this was, say PS2 era, I don't know. They had a bad rep and everyone thought they just make rubbish games. And they turned it around really well, I thought, with like lots of games on the 360. They did a lot of good stuff, like Dead Space was great, Dante's Inferno was good. They had a lot of games that you thought they did really well with, and then it seems to have gone all a bit back to how it was before. And there's nothing. They're not doing anything that we, other than like Mass Effect and like Dragon Age, I'm sure will be decent, but it doesn't feel like they're doing anything particularly interesting anymore. Like they're not doing anything. Like EA, obviously one of the big publishers that could potentially take a risk on something. And
I don't think they're. What with all the restructuring they've gone through, all that, maybe the board are like we don't really want to take financial risks on things.
It just feels like, other than Sony, like who is an indie developers, who is actually doing anything that unique?
Ubisoft, and that's it.
But Ubisoft are doing Ubisoft are basically churning out
the crew. No, but they keep doing stuff different, don't they? Like the Division, and they do what's that? Siege.
We've already had the thing about how every Ubisoft game is the same.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. That's not exactly true. But the Division looked interesting when they announced it. But every time they've shown it since, it just feels like more like a co-op third-person shooter. I mean.
Well, they do the same mistake every time, where they reveal their games way too early. They keep doing that, and then the problem is that the expectation you have of it when it's revealed is, like you say, very different to what it is when it's announced. But at least they keep doing new IP, whether that falls into a particular pattern of genre is different. At least they try.
I think their new
things.
IP will dry up quite soon. They can't keep going with.
I think they've already sort of settled on their next gen stuff, haven't they?
Like what we have now will go on a cycle.
Watch Dogs, the Crew, and the Division will be,
and Siege
this
as
year's
well.
Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, really. I think, but
I just think there's a lack of like unique new games coming from everyone. Like Activision have been COD and Skylanders and licensed games.
I got Destiny, I guess.
And Destiny, but that's it again, isn't it? Like, can you see them doing anything else that new?
I thought they would with Sierra. I thought they'd bring stuff back.
But then Sierra appears to be the indie label for Activision, doesn't it? So, I mean, that's good. Like, they bring it back Geometry Wars, so that's a good thing. But I don't know. Like, I think Sony definitely appear to put themselves in a good position
as well.
Yeah.
Some kind of King's Quest game.
But it's made by the people that do, what's it called? Winterbottom. Yeah.
Adrian Edmonds.
Please do No One Lives Forever. Please.
I don't see it happening.
What's that?
That would be cracking.
Don't ask me what No One Lives Forever is.
Like
would you want that
sort of
back
James Bond spoof
as like an
type
indie
thing.
game?
Oh,
though?
right.
You'd want it back as a big game, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would, but I just settle for a port of Nolf 2 at the moment. Nolf 2 is amazing. You're shaking your head like you've never heard of this game.
I haven't.
It's good.
Oh,
Play it.
honestly, no, I thought I did, but I didn't.
It's Austin Powers, the video game.
Yeah.
Is it really?
It's really good. It's really good.
It's so up Dave Street. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It's
Does sound it.
amazing.
Does sound good.
Before we move on to the questions, I just wanted to mention I'm probably the only person in this room that gives a shit, but Dreamfall Chapters saw a little bit of it at Sony's
That's
conference.
coming first to PS4, is it? Or
Yeah.
console debut on PS4?
Yeah.
One
There
of
was
the-
a lot of that chat, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean,
First the console on Xbox.
Sony uses the console debut, and Microsoft used first on Xbox.
Yeah.
First to console.
Yeah, first to console. whatever it
It's
was.
all just full exclusivity.
Yeah.
though,
But lots of the stuff that has been labelled like that for PS4 isn't scheduled to come out on the Xbox One. So
yeah.
I think it's just like at the moment, and then they'll see how it goes on other platforms.
So there's
But
no deal in place, perhaps.
I don't know.
It's just
but
coming to PS4.
They've got a lot of them anyway, so that's all that really matters.
Yeah,
They've got a
yeah.
load of games.
But yeah, Dreamfall Chapters I'm so excited for, because like the first two games, they were so long ago. The second game ended on a cliffhanger.
Have they announced? Did they split this next one up or something? Because they announced something about how it's.
Well, it's weird because I think the idea was to do an episodic adventure game. Hence, like it's called Dreamfall Chapters, and then it wasn't episodic, and then it was episodic again.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what's happening with it now. But
Also, we haven't mentioned the Ninja Theory game, which clearly looks
yeah.
just
Hellblade.
like looks. It has to be attached to Heavenly Sword, surely.
Yeah.
The
Well, they say
woman,
it's
the
a
girl,
completely
isn't
new
the
IP.
girl the same? Isn't that the sister from Heavenly Sword?
They said it's a brand new character.
It looks just like her.
She had the same face as the girl from Enslaved as well. It's like Ninja Theory.
And
only
that
had
could be
one
the thing.
model
Maybe-
for
Oh yeah,
women.
because she did look similar to.
Maybe
Heavenly
they
Sword
just
girl
have.
as well,
Maybe it's
yeah.
just got the style of a Ninja Theory game, and and it has a sword in it. So
Yeah.
they made a big deal about the sword. So I assumed there was some link, but they've said it hasn't. But I mean, I assume do they own the IP? Who owns the IP for Heavenly Sword? Because they did a movie, didn't they?
Is it a Sony game? I
don't know.
I don't know.
What, the movie's already been out. That film has been done, or is it being done?
I don't know if it got released yet or not, but
Right.
they were working on a CG movie, weren't
That's
they? Because
insane.
their whole thing is they do the mocap stuff with circus and all that kind of stuff. But it looked like a CG from the game. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I like Ninja Theory. I really liked Enslaved.
Yeah, I
love
did as
that
well.
game.
I did as well.
They said
Fantastic.
they would have done a sequel to Enslaved if they could. They said that yesterday, and suggesting that Namco said no to it.
Yeah, it didn't sell very well.
And they spoke about an unannounced, like a cancelled next gen game as well called Razor.
Yeah.
I don't know, sounded intriguing, but we'll never see that. So
Did you guys ever get to the end of Enslaved?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't
Like
it?
it was the
What,
strangest-
Circus's head.
It was Andy
Like a
Serkis on
pyramid
a
or
big
something.
telly. Yeah.
Was it like in a pyramid? There's like his screen. There's a screen with his face on it.
Yeah,
his real face.
Yeah.
Just bizarre.
It's weird. I can see why there isn't a sequel for many reasons, but it was a really decent game. We've got to move on to questions in a minute, but we've got a charity shout out thing that
a charity shout out thing.
yeah.
That's the official
We've got a
segment
couple
title,
shout outs,
right?
haven't we? Have we not got a couple of shout outs?
No, we've got.
I thought we
one,
did.
as far as I'm aware.
I thought we were meant to have a shout out last week.
Yeah, well, Bratters has forgot to do that, and I don't have the details with me. So
Right, so for a second week running.
Does Jim do his charity one first?
This is going to sound like I deliberately put it in because it's about a hospital in Edinburgh, but I don't have anything to do with it. We got an email from Sean Smith who's doing a 24-hour gaming session in October, a sponsored thing to help a charity called Edinburgh Sick Kids. It's actually a regular yearly sort of charity where a lot of people do this called Sick Kids Save Point. I know of it because I know I've got friends who've done it as well. He's looking for donations and stuff like that, obviously, and he can be found at justgiving.com/Sean Smith. That's Sean SHAWN-Smith.
AWN.
Yeah.
I've never even seen that spelling of Sean before.
It's
There you go.
to be shaved.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go. So give him money if you want.
Yeah. The other shout out, which we have no details of because Bratters isn't here again and failed to do it last week. If you emailed us with a nice comment about how you like our podcast and our VideoGamerTV and all that kind of stuff, and you said that it was really nice and you appreciate all the effort we put in, we did email you back and say thanks for that. Hope you got the email. And also this is a shout out to say thanks for the email. Can't remember your name.
That was the worst shout out I've ever heard on
Bratters.
any.
I briefed him last week.
We don't know who you are, what you said, or when you said it.
But they'll know.
Thank you very much.
They'll know. They'll think, wow, that was me.
Right.
And it was them as well.
Yeah.
And it was.
Wonderful.
So we do appreciate the
We'll
comments.
get 5 responses to that going, thanks for the shout out.
Yeah.
So-
If you think it was you, it was.
Yeah. Just know it was you.
Blame Chris.
Oh yeah, I remember you briefing Brad
Yeah.
about this.
And he came out and said, no, I didn't do that. Well, thanks. Well done, Bratters.
right.
Question.
Couple of questions. The first one's from Brett Claxton, as always.
Is that you?
No.
I was going
My
to
last
say
name's not
actually,
Claxton.
I was going to say actually, Brett Claxton.
Claxton on C.
when I first started here, I didn't know your surname. I followed Brett Claxton on Twitter after you started messaging me because I thought it was you. So if you're listening, Brett Claxton, that's the only reason I follow you. And he's asking, what is your go-to food to eat whilst gaming?
Dave.
Food to eat whilst gaming. I don't really
think
eat
this
food
question
while
is
gaming.
Dave,
Awkward, because you need both hands on the
I
controller.
don't think I've ever eaten food while playing a game.
Snack food's all right.
I ordered a pizza at midnight while playing Deadfall Adventures. That was about it. So yeah, pizza will do. Lovely.
Maltesers are good. You can just quickly.
I say something like that.
Yeah,
now.
but they get on your chocolate, get on your finger,
You're
and
like,
get on the
how
controller.
long are you holding that? You
no,
like,
but you out the bag. Tip them out the bag.
You're weird.
Because you need both hands for gaming. I mean, what would be the ideal food? Like a corn on the cob on a stick that you could just put your head over to.
Well, like on a spit roast.
Yeah.
Just
Or
lean.
just hang a bit of meat
piggish,
from the
isn't it?
ceiling.
Like a kebab.
Or there's plenty of options.
Yeah, no.
I think you've hit on like an idea. We could probably kickstart this, like
Yeah.
dangling food.
Dangly.
Gamer food that just dangles from the ceiling.
They call it dangly bits or something.
Video
But,
gamers
like, this is the
dangling
thing,
meats.
though, isn't it? Oh, like people love Doritos and Mountain
You can't
Dew.
eat Doritos while playing games.
No.
It's crazy.
Because you always have to do that,
All
like
that
wipe it
flavour
on your
dust in
leg
your
before
controller
you
as well.
carry on.
Like, you know, whatever.
Right.
Mountain Dew is also piss. It is vile.
That's a very strong statement about Mountain Dew.
Yeah, but it's vile.
I would like to distance the rest of Video Gamer from that statement. Craig Murray asks a serious question, so brace yourselves. What do you think about the combo for the new Silent Hill? as in the combo of creatives behind it. You know, hidden.
Kind of discussed that already.
Really
haven't
good.
we?
Really good.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Very good.
Could be great.
Very long cutscenes.
And that series has kind of been going on a downward spiral for a while. So
I think they kind of had like
It's definitely the kick up.
they
the
kind
arse
of
it needs on it.
they've done some okay games, haven't they? But never like this is the comeback it needs type
Yeah.
game. So this hopefully they do something really different, and it's not just third person hacking people up with a crowbar.
Yeah.
Next question from Tam Jameson. What is, in our opinion, the biggest news to come out of Gamescom? I think it's got to be Tomb Raider, isn't
Tomb Raider and Silent Hills, because the way they did
Yeah.
it was very good.
it? Yeah.
agreed.
So that's that. I cannot pronounce this person's name. Surab Malhotra.
Can Dave try?
No,
Just on the Tomb Raider thing, is Microsoft's acquisition, is it an acquisition?
Wow, it's an exclusivity deal, isn't it?
But that deal, is it good for Microsoft but bad for Square Enix?
I think I can't see why Square Enix would have agreed to it if it wasn't really good for them.
It must be
It's money, isn't it?
beneficial.
And
Yeah,
presumably, I mean, we don't know the deal. Either it's probably exclusive and they're getting a ton of cash, or it's a ton exclusive, they're getting a lot of cash, and then they'll also sell it on PS4 later. So
Yeah.
Look, it's probably a very simple business decision. The first one cost a shitload of money and they didn't really profit off of it. So Square's execs have probably gone, that one cost us shitloads. Microsoft's gone to Square and said, we can help you pay for it if you give us this as either a timed exclusive or full exclusive. And Square's gone, yep.
Yeah. Because Square also
Won't
said,
lose as much money or won't invest as much money into that one.
Yeah, because Square did say it didn't sell as much as they wanted the first one. So now they think, well, give us a shitload
Is
of money.
it profitable yet? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But
They said they had a really unrealistic target of how many they wanted it to sell, and it didn't make that target.
Didn't
so
they want it to sell 7 million and it sold 3 million?
That
I
was-
think it
that's
has. I think it
something
has
like
done
that,
they
yeah.
7
said
now.
yesterday it sold 7.
All right.
But that is
So-
after it got released on other platforms as
Yeah.
well.
When that stuff came out about Square saying it didn't meet the expected targets, that was when it was at 3 million, right?
That was,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure,
that was
3
just,
million
that
was
was
the
just
figure
when
that
it was a PS3 360
Yeah.
PC game.
Well, so the PS4 version's given it, the next gen version's given it a bit
They've
of a boost.
given it a
then.
boost, yeah. Yeah.
That's surprising. Lastly, there's probably a lot more questions that I didn't see because they were still coming in when we started recording, but from Ryan Archer. In your
Minty Rebel, wasn't it? Minty Rebel.
No.
It's not?
No, well, not according to his username. It's Ryan Archer 95. Maybe it's a different.
Shit.
I thought it was Minty Rebel as
I
well.
thought it was Minty Rebel. If it is you, Minty Rebel,
Maybe he's got 2 accounts. I don't know.
maybe.
He's like Brat. He's got 6 Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
In your opinion, when will we hear something about Fallout 4? I only picked it because it's a question close to my heart.
It'll be a while. It'll be a long while. They got to get Elder Scrolls Online on PS4 and Xbox One out the door.
I would imagine because they hasn't Bethesda had a thing at the Spike stuff.
Yeah.
So it's the VGAs, yeah.
There's got to be some big games.
I would not be
then.
surprised to see it then.
I mean, if you look at what Bethesda, what have they got coming that we know of?
Elder
There's out
Scrolls.
this year. We'll figure out the stuff this year. Next year, we've got Doom.
Is Doom next year?
Doom maybe. I mean, we don't know.
Well, there's a reveal next year. I haven't said anything about a release date of that.
But so you say we assume Doom's coming next year. That's it, as far as we know for Bethesda.
I would guess that Fallout is next year.
I mean, they've got to have something else next year, and it could easily be Fallout. I guess. I mean, who knows?
Will it be Fallout or will it be another Elder Scrolls?
It'll be Fallout, sure.
yeah, it's too
because they're
close
alternating
to
them,
online,
aren't
Enduro
isn't
Fallout,
it?
aren't we?
Yeah,
But-
we just had online.
So it's been going just by the way they worked in the past. They've probably started work on Fallout 4 since like just before Fallout 3 came out.
Really? What? They'd have worked on Fallout 4 in conjunction with Skyrim?
With the I mean basically, I mean according to what they've said in the past, like work on Skyrim started at the end of the development for Oblivion.
Right.
You know, and it was the same with Oblivion and Morrowind. Like there's references to Oblivion in
Is that just
Morrowind.
like pre-production type stuff though, or is that actual
Probably, yeah,
actual
but-
development?
but work would have started on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Hopefully, wherever it is, it's not cross-gen.
no,
Really hope it's
I really
not.
hope not.
Because
I hope not.
I mean, we need third-party
But
games to move
That's
away.
a series that really
it
needs to
may
look
well
nice
be
as well, I
cross-gen
think.
though, because because of the length of the dev cycles
Yeah.
that Bethesda has with those kind of games.
But I wonder if we're going to get a reverse Skyrim performance situation across the consoles.
What do you mean?
Well, because Skyrim ran like crap on
Oh, I
PS3.
see, right,
didn't
yeah.
it?
Oh, right.
It was utterly broken.
It was
wasn't
a horrible
Still
mess.
is, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
imagine if it was the other way around. Hopefully it isn't, but who knows? Because they've not been the best with their game engine stuff in the past.
It's going to be quite interesting. It's probably still going to be running on.
But that's the kind of game that will get next gen pushed to another level, because it will be the kind of game that people buy consoles for, assuming it is good.
See, that's what next gen is missing for me. There's no sort of big, proper, meaty game that's
not bound by Flame.
Surely there'll be a Skyrim remaster before then, anyway.
I'm really
the
hoping
remasters.
So,
we did these predictions for Gamescom, and I was convinced there are going to be loads of remasters announced. They've announced Journey, haven't they? And the other one,
and it's cross-buy as well.
And but why are they not doing this? Like, why is Far Cry 3 not on next gen? Why is like all the stuff like Square put out, like Hitman, looked amazing on PC, didn't look as good on consoles? Why is that not been ported over? Why is Deus Ex not been ported over? Why is all this stuff, like they're doing Sleeping Dogs, doesn't look like they've done a great deal to it, but at least it's available.
It had no added content as well. And the theme of these remasters seems to be that they put whatever was released. These had something posted they put in as a big bundle to give up people who had a reason.
Tomb Raider was see it like that. I just think they see 1080-60
look a bit nicer. Like Tomb Raider was a good. If that was like the benchmark for upgrades, that's fine. Like all I want to do is play the game. Like Far Cry, I didn't play on Xbox because it ran terribly and looked really rough.
It wouldn't make sense though with Far Cry 4. So
I know, but Far Cry 4, it feels to me like they've rushed that out a bit too soon. Like they could have had this Christmas Far Cry 3 on next gen, put Far Cry 4 out middle of next year or whatever, and sold this old game again, sold a couple million copies because it's a good game that really, and they could have done amazing comparison videos. Like it looked bad on console.
There's nothing to say they won't do that still.
Yeah, they could still.
They could announce it a month or so before.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fart, that was my chair.
I mean, surely because the next gen consoles are all PC architecture, it must be a piece of piss.
I mean, we don't know how easy it is, but it looks like something like get a team, like a porting team to do it, hire someone to do it. Like
they've got enough studios.
Like it just feels like a no-brainer. Like some of these people don't like remasters because they should be spending money on new games, but I'd quite like BioShock Infinite looked a lot better on PC. Get that out. Get all the BioShock games out. Like why not do it? Like it seems like easy money. That's a Billy Joel song.
I really want the Mass Effect trilogy remaster next gen.
I think something like that, because this is the thing, is the Halo bundle, there's so much value in that, even though they've only fully remastered 2, but the fact there's so much content in that, you think, I'll happily buy that because you're getting so much for your money. You put a trilogy out of Mass Effect.
Oh,
Mass Effect. I think the issue with Mass Effect is that compared to something like Far Cry, which is built for basically next gen anyway, really, it would port across looking pretty nice. Yeah. Whereas Mass Effect, like the original Mass Effect, looks a bit ropey these days, like it was early last gen.
Yeah.
So either they put it across and go, it looks a bit shit still.
But again, they could do the Halo thing,
or they do an actual they do an actual remaster with proper upgrades, which is obviously more of an investment and more time.
Yeah. But they could do the Halo thing where they just improve the second and third, and then just leave the and just say, look, this is the first still.
I've seen that like the PC version of the original Mass Effect holds up pretty well though, so it would probably be those assets that they would use if they did do a remaster. But I reckon that's going to happen before Mass Effect 4 comes out.
Who knows when Mass Effect's coming out, but they're presumably no earlier than late next year, probably even the year after. They haven't shown anything really, have they? But they've got time to get.
It's nowhere near finished, is it?
I guess not. Well, I mean, we haven't seen anything but that small teaser at E3.
There'll probably be an Uncharted trilogy as well in the lead up to 4.
That would be fine. I'd throw money at that.
God of War 3.
Oh, Sony are going to love it. So they are going to put all their PS3 games out on PS3.
Well, they have to do it
beyond everything that didn't bloody.
But they have to do something differently because of the Now subscription. They have to do something to the games.
I don't think they do.
Well, you think just repackage them?
As long as they're in HD and they've tied up the textures and something.
They do have to tie up because of the PlayStation Now thing. They have to differentiate the two options.
It's not hard to do though, is it?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying
I imagine
something different.
Last of Us Remastered was incredibly low budget, relatively speaking, for a Naughty Dog production.
Considering when they said it was going to look like the cutscenes as well.
I expect the profit loss on that game is massive.
Yeah.
They've probably made more money off that already than they did off The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like profit-wise.
Oh, yeah.
But
if anyone from Bethesda is listening, it would be a piece of piss for you to Skyrim on next gen, and if you did, I would pay anything up to £200 for it. Just to
Skyrim is such a that game sold tons constantly for I can remember just selling loads of copies months after it was released. Like, I felt like it was never out of the charts.
Yeah.
It still sells, doesn't
and
it?
people would like buy that, like lap it up on next gen. Like,
Yeah.
they'd need to do it. Like, people will moan like we're not supporting new development, but there's lots of these games that would benefit from
But
being on
like
next
Burns
gen.
tackled this in that feature. No one goes to Fox or Warner and says, "Oh, you're not supporting new films by releasing bloody Alien on Blu-ray." Do you know what I mean?
But also,
Like-
are we grabbing people's hands and putting the money on their money on the counter to say you have to buy this? You don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
It's just the option is there.
I bought Terminator 2 about 6 times on DVD. Just on DVD.
yeah.
I bought Avatar 3 times, I think. No, twice.
That's just stupid.
Bloody hell, Brett.
Yeah. I really liked Avatar.
Fuck, obviously. Jesus Christ. I think that's about it, isn't it? Are we done?
I think so.
Is there any more conferences? There's Konami.
I think they're just showing
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear,
all
which
Metal Gear.
Are Nintendo doing anything?
don't think so.
No.
They did put out a little video showing all the exclusive Wii U games.
A lot of them are already out and quite old as well. One of them was Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and another one was Mario Kart 8. It's like, yeah, cheers. We look forward to them.
Not Sims 4.
Smash.
No.
Not Sims 4. But wonderful.
Well, I think it's goodbye from us then.
Yeah, I reckon so.
until
I'm going to
next
go to
week.
bed.
When
I'm going
Brett
to go
will
play
be back.
TP.
PT, you mean?
PT.
TP.
TP. Yeah.
I think we'll leave it there. Bye.
Bye.